So let's go over some cleaning basics. This is going to be, like I said, just very basic. We're not going to clean like accessories and muzzle attachments and all that stuff, detailed cleaning. We're just going to do a basic field strip and clean all the main parts that need to be cleaned for smooth operation. Let's just say that. So this is our little cleaning kit. Just got some gun lube, some just basic folded paper towels, Q-tips for little detailed areas, some little wire brushes for the gas key and whatnot, a specialized AR tool and I'll show you how this is pretty cool. I'll show you this later. Just like an Allen key. Like this is like my little basic maintenance, and I carry like bits with me and stuff. Those are the basic things we're gonna need to clean. Really just these things, and some lube, whatnot, paper towels. So first of all, make sure the gun's clear. Nothing in there. I've shot about 400, a little bit over 400 rounds with this since I've cleaned it. You may have watched the recent videos. So for this, we're just going to separate the upper and lower. Like, this is just so I can show you better where to clean and stuff, and then I'll give you some little tips and tricks. So we'll separate it, but normally you don't have to separate it. We'll start with the lower receiver because we can get that out of the way pretty quick. First of all, just give it a quick little wipe down. So we'll take our paper towel allotment. This is just like what I carry with me on the field, so I can get my gun up and running again if I have experience any issues. Clean the mag well. A lot of people neglect this area. Just wipe it down. I mean, look at all that, just from all the carbon and stuff. And this will actually make it to where less foreign matter gets introduced to your system. A lot of people don't think of it like that. Wipe down the top, the bolt catch. And this doesn't have to be super detailed, just kind of get it going, Outside doesn't really matter a whole lot. I like to clean the hammer, get down there as far as I can, pull the trigger, and then just get whatever I can. It's like I said, you can get in there with a Q-tip or disassemble the whole gun to get down there, but unless you're experiencing any issues or you have like a lot of shavings from like brass or the jackets of the round or lead or whatever, there's no real reason to disassemble your gun that far. So don't disassemble your gun like 1,000 times. Like sometimes disassembling and reassembling a gun can actually cause accelerated wear because the pinholes and stuff will continue to get more and more wore out. The main takedown pins will get smoother, but they're also kind of wearing out too, if you think about it. So yeah, so that's pretty much done, right? We'll take a look at the buffer, another neglected area. So I'm just going to go over the quickness here. I like to just get in there with a finger, just to kind of get the majority of the debris out of there. And this is a new firearm, so there's not going to be a whole lot of mess in there. A lot of people will go a couple thousand rounds without cleaning, 500, Or what I like to do is just every trip before I go out to the next one, it doesn't have to be like right afterwards. I prefer doing it right afterwards, but if I don't get around to it with the quickness, it's not a huge deal. So that's done. We're going to set our lower aside. Now let's address our buffer and our action spring. I like to just wipe the outside off if I'm going quick, but if I want to do a little detailed clean, I'll actually wrap the paper towel around, like I'll fold it in half a few times and then wrap it around the actual coils itself, and then spin it, depending on which direction you go from, so spin it, and then it gets all the extra gunk out. I'm not going to do this whole thing. This is a new action spring. You can see all right here that was kind of dirty, but yeah, so that's good enough for now. Then you just wipe your buffer down. Buffer is like one of the easiest parts to clean on your gun, on your AR, and that's good to go. Now we're going to take our charging handle and pull it back, or depress the latch there. Or not depress it, but take our charging handle out. Look for those wings right there on the side. That's what holds it in there. Now we'll set our upper side, and we're going to disassemble. Well, first of all, we're going to just wipe down our charging handle because it's right here. But then we're going to disassemble the bolt carrier group. And the charging handle gets kind of dirty, mostly just from the lube and stuff. And you definitely do want to lube this part, because this part sees a lot of wear, and it's just made out of aluminum, so it sees a lot of wear. And then, you know, especially if you got like a stuck case or something, you can break these, you know. A lot of people don't realize that. So get a quality one that you can get replaced by the manufacturer if that's the case, you know, or just go super cheap. Either go super cheap or go super expensive. You know, the middle ground is kind of weird. So that's pretty much good. Again, like I would do detail cleaning if this was not for a video. This is a good time to check your gas rings. A good way to test it is you pull it all the way out and you set it down on a flat surface, and as long as it does not go down by itself, then you have good compression. So we pop this little pin out here on the side, the left side of the carrier, right there. Now we're going to take our firing pin out, and it shouldn't be black, so we're going to fix that. Now we can take our cam pin out, which just rotates. You pull that sucker out of there, and you can pull your bolt out. Now you can just wipe down the carrier. This is a good time to inspect your carrier for wear, and especially like on the tracks here and stuff, like those are very important places to lubricate. And you can actually let your gun speak to you in a way, and I'll show you how to do that. It's not crazy important that you get it like perfectly clean, you know. I mean, honestly, this thing would go thousands of rounds without really needing any cleaning whatsoever. But I like to keep my firearms clean because it makes your parts last longer, because it doesn't have to work as hard to do what the parts are designed to do. Again, this would be a part where I would get a Q-tip, and don't worry about getting little fibers in there. You know, a lot of people are like, if you get a Q-tip fiber in your gun, it's gonna make it stop working. It's like, nah. If your gun stops working because of a small piece of cotton gets in there, then, you know, either you need to do a better job picking out a better firearm, or the manufacturer needs to up their game, because that's ridiculous. This is the part right here, right, that little cam pin channel that's important to kind of get out with a Q-tip. I mean, it's pretty dirty. But again, like, we're going to go back over this, but just for the time being, just kind of wipe it clean, set it aside. Now we're going to take our small little parts here, just wipe down the firing pin. Usually this won't be a big deal in terms of like on the shaft itself. The problem area is like usually right here at the bottom of the little top hat right here. And for field use, this would be good enough, but this is a cool little cleaner. You can actually use this side of the tool and throw your firing pin down in there. You pull and twist, and you can push down too. There's a bunch of different ways you can use this tool. You can see that it's a little bit cleaner right here. You know, clean off your little pin here. These are good like little parts like this, like the cam pin, firing pin, all that stuff, are good parts to have extras of on hand, especially like with you on the field, because you don't want to go out for a shooting trip and then not have backup parts or backup gun. I usually just carry a backup gun with me, but if you're a little bit strapped for cash and stuff, it's definitely much cheaper to carry extra parts that you know will break before others, you know. Another good little spot to get with the Q-tip is inside the cam pin. Just literally pop it in there and spin it around, because that's actually where the firing pin goes through. So here's the bolt. Again, just wipe everything down just to kind of get the majority of the debris and oil and goop off of it. Get in between the lugs, get the bolt face. And like I said, all this is a great time to look for wear, or, you know, weird wear. And then also inspect little areas like I said, your gun talks to you. Like it tells you where it needs lubrication. Here's another cool part for this tool. As you can see, it just fits right on there. You just push down and twist and kind of apply pressure from all different kind of angles while you're twisting. And that would get you back into action. Like, that doesn't really need to be cleaned, but it's nice to just have things kind of be how they look like from the factory, or maybe even a little bit better. Okay, so that's good enough. Usually a lot of carbon builds up right here. Another part that really doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but you can take, you know, this part of the tool and you can scrape it off if you want. Honestly, I usually just bypass that until it builds up pretty good, because it doesn't really leave that area once it gets there, at least in my experience. It just kind of stays there. So you can get that off and stuff, and a lot of people that would bother. But for basic cleaning, this isn't like super important. This would be another good point for your Q-tip. Getting this little circle channel where the cam pin resides and does its thing. A lot of people might round these edges off because the sharp corners can kind of cause a little bit of extra wear. And the cool thing about using Q-tips here is you can reuse them. You can take off a little part of the Q-tip and then get down in the firing pin channel, twist it, make sure you don't go all the way to get that stuck in there because it'll be a pain in the ass to get out. You need some pliers and stuff. But I mean, watch how, look at all that, that's good. And we'll try it again with the other side that we just ripped off there. And you can see there's still some goopy in there. Here's another Q-tip, get down it where the firing pin or the case head. You should be able to push down your ejector just a little bit. That's a good thing to check, just to make sure your ejector spring is not damaged. Clean the extractor area out pretty good. And this is pretty much good to go. Just give her another wipe down, and she is ready to be reinstalled. Make sure and check your gas rings for abnormal wear. Doesn't really matter if they're lined up. If you need proof on that, go ahead and check one of my videos out on the facts and myths section of my channel. So this would be good to go. Again, like if I had more time, I would clean this stuff off, but for now it's good to go. Now we're gonna take our carrier again, and we're gonna take our special tool. You take this end here, stick in the carrier, push and twist, kind of loosen up all the carbon down there. And looks pretty good. Not sure if you can see in there, but now it's kind of silver and it was black before. Wipe our tool off. Now we slide our little cleaning patch or paper towel. I like to fold it over the top and stick it down in there. Twist it around a few times. You can see quite a bit of concentrated carbon came off there. We're going to need some more paper towels. We'll give her another pass. Probably fine even if it's a little bit dirty. I mean, I can actually count on it that it is. But just keep on doing that until that color doesn't come out anymore and it's like, you know, probably white. But you can look in there and see it's pretty decent. Now, these little wire brushes here, this is what I have these for. The small one. The big one is just for the bore, but we're not going to do the bore. Once you do this a few times, kind of loosen it up, just take a Q-tip, peel off a little bit, and then stuff it down in there. Give it some good twists, and you'll hear it like how tight it is in there. Just twist it around, back and forth, and then do it until it's white. So that part is good to go. We're going to move on to lubrication. Now, for these particular parts, I kind of like to lubricate the internals with a lightweight, like oil. And then I like to lubricate the sort of external parts, well, the internals of the gun, but still the external of the carrier with like a sort of heavier lube. That's just my preference. You could do it probably with any kind of lubrication. Personally, I like to lubricate the gas rings first. Just kind of get a good even coating in there. And then I like to lubricate this little part right here, which is kind of like a little stabilizer ring to keep it centered in the carrier. Just kind of work it back and forth. Super smooth. And then I like to put a little bit of oil in these little holes and then kind of work it in. Wow, that's crazy smooth. That's awesome. Next step is we want to make sure our our extractor is in the right position. You want the extractor on the right side of the bolt carrier. So there's that. We take your cam pin. This part, since it's not kind of like where the piston rings are, I'll either do a little bit of lube or I'll do the oil, but like I said, either or, your preference. Oops, make sure you're like that. Then you can twist it. You get your firing pin. I typically leave my firing pin unlubed because the other lube kind of gets on it anyway. So there's that. And then I like to lube up this little pin just so it comes in and out easy. Again, totally your preference. There you go. So that part is reassembled, ready to go. Now, we're going to wipe it off again just so we can get maximum lube on the carrier itself, because the oil kind of repels this kind of particular grease I'm using, which is non-petroleum based white lithium grease. Make sure it's non-petroleum based because there are some rubber components in the extractor here. These right here are like the rails, and once you shoot your gun enough, you're going to start to see like little silver spots. And this is a pretty new gun, so it doesn't really show it, but you'll see little silver spots, like usually on the gas key, on the rails themselves, especially on, you know, like on the part the hammer rides on, and just like other little various parts. So this is what I was talking about when I said your gun speaks to you. If you look right here, you can see like a little bit of silver. You can see some silver right here, or not silver, but, you know, bare metal. Right here on the cam pin, up here by the gas key. This is your gun speaking to you. This is telling you where it needs lubrication. It's also the points where your gun is mating to itself. Like the parts are working more and more together. You know, the more you use them together. And this is just them making a little bit of contact with each other while they're kind of going through that initial process of finding the balance inside the gun. Those are the parts you want to definitely address positively. The rest of it's just kind of like conceptual, like maybe you need some right here, you know. I like to just lube the shit out of it. Excuse my language, but I like to lube the hell out of it. I'll say that. Lube it where the we need to shake this up. Lube it where, you know, the hammer rides and all that kind of stuff. And I like to do a little bit back here. Right? Just kind of. Now a lot of people will say, man, that is over lubed, and I might agree with you. But what is over lubed? You can't really over lube something, because all the lubrication, as long as it's not a sealed system, which this is not a very sealed system. I mean, it kind of is, comparatively speaking, but the lube will displace itself. You know. So let's set that aside. Now we want to look at our charging handle. Again, this is something like, see all these little silver spots? That's from the, well, the finish is wearing off, but just kind of lube it up where you see those silver spots. And this, again, will spread itself, you know, and you can't have too much. I like to put a little bit down here too, just in case the gas key ever hits, which it doesn't. But, you know, lube the hell out of it. Why not? Take your buffer. Lube the surfaces that touch your receiver extension, aka buffer tube. Lube the part that the spring compresses onto. Place it back on the spring. I like to put a little bit on the spring itself too occasionally. Let's wipe our hands off. Get a fresh paper towel here. Now I want to just wipe down the upper receiver. Anywhere you see carbon or lube from the last time, get that off there. Definitely get down in there, and then by the gas tube here. And I'll show you a little trick to get down to the gas tube. And your paper towel, after you're done, should look like this, or worse. So, and then you can use your paper towel, get in that star chamber, barrel extension, whatever you want to call that, the locking chamber. There's a lot of different names for that. So once you get to the point to where like this is too clumsy and your hands are too big, switch over to the old Q-tips. And get down there in the cam pin resting area, that little half circle you see right there. Get down there. You can get on the side of the gas tube and the gas tube itself. Don't go too hard in that, because I mean, if you bend it, it'll be all weird. But you can kind of bend this, right, and get under it too, right? Using your brain, problem solving. Get down there, because that stuff's pretty hard to get unless you have really small fingers. I have pretty small fingers, but I can't even get down there. So that looks pretty damn good. Now we want to get down in there. You just want to get in there as good as you can. This is kind of like a self-cleaning location. It, you know, it doesn't need to be perfect. You know, if this were like Bill Gates AR-15 or something like that, and it had to be absolutely perfect, I would get some special tools. But for everyday civilian use, civvy use, it doesn't need to be perfect. It really doesn't. Like, just kind of get in there as good as you can. If you can't get it with a Q-tip, like, it's probably fine. Just get in there and spin it around. Open up your ejection port. Kind of get in from the side here to the top. You know, bend your Q-tip. Get all in there as much as you can. For the actual bore cleaning, if you choose a bore brush, you know, a lot of people say don't go from the front. I think that's somewhat of a myth, but still, you know, it's better to go the way the bullet travels, right, down the barrel. This is pretty good. I'm looking at the star chamber, or the barrel extension, or the chamber itself, and it looks pretty good. It's not horrible. Let's start putting this thing back together. We start off with our charging handle. You find those little tabs, set it in there like kind of halfway. Then you want your bolt here to be all the way out. And a little cool trick, if this is in, you can just kind of snap it forward, just flick of the wrist. The reason for that is this cam, or the cam pin, needs to be out of the way. See how it would be in the way? Pop that baby in there. Take our buffer spring and whatnot, put it back in there lower. Make sure you put your hammer down so it's easier for reassembly. Take your lube. You want to put it on the disconnector, which is the part that kind of holds the hammer back while you hold the trigger. So get a little bit on there. And that was probably too much, but that's fine. It'll all go somewhere. Now take a Q-tip. Gotta love those Q-tips. And lube it up a bit. And we're going to get down all the way down to the bottom of the hammer. See that horizontal piece, like right on the side of the spring, the hammer spring? You want to get that right there. That's the surface that actually catches when you let the trigger go. If you don't hold the trigger, that's the thing that holds it, if that makes any sense to you. And then use the rest for the hammer itself. And there you go. Put the magical two pieces back together. Now your gun's all greasy. All right? Just kind of function check it. If you want, you can remove excess lube you see. But at this point, you're good to go. And I'm not going to show you me cleaning this up because you get the point. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe, all that stuff. I get new videos all the time. And I have a bunch of videos coming up. For you people that love airsoft, I have airsoft videos planned. I'm going to be doing some fun stuff there soon. And yeah, just stay tuned. Have a good day. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.